Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema each week and sees things, stays at home, sees things on different streaming platforms, rates them all out of five, and says where our money has been better spent this week. Should you also spend your money and go to the cinema, or should you just keep spending your money at home on your streaming services?
Let's get ready to rumble!
Well, my name is Tosin and I'm the host. I'm up in the middle of the country in a place called Bromsgrove near Birmingham. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight are Sean Harris
Hello.
and Sharon Bolland.
Hello.
Yes, and if you listen to us, you know that last week we had a cinema extravaganza because there are so many things in the cinema at the moment. And yes, we didn't do anything on Netflix and Friends next week because there were too many things in the cinema. We might have gone a little bit early because this week, this week, there are still many things in the cinema, but there's some things that we have not seen. So I'm going to list a couple of things that we have not seen that we would have liked to, but didn't get a chance to. That was there's The Keeper. The
Keeper.
Keeper,
Yeah.
the new Osgood Perkins movie with Tatiana Maslany. We haven't seen that, but that's still in the cinemas. We didn't see Christmas Karma, which is something that I'm really intrigued to see, Sharon, what you think about that because that does seem like a sort of cozy. It's essentially Scrooge all over again, but this time Scrooge is a Hindu.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think it's kind of like the cozy kind of thing, cozy Christmas movie that I think is a bit up your alley, but it's well, I see it going one of two ways, Sharon. It is going to
Yeah.
be right up your alley, or it's going to have been changed with a formula that little bit much that makes you hate it. So,
It's going to be disastrous. So
it,
yeah, I'll if I can find a suitable, I'll try to catch it.
yeah. And I still stand by what we said last week. There are a lot of films in the cinema at the moment, and good stuff because almost every film we spoke about last week got four stars. So, still in the cinema are Predator: Badlands, The Coral, Begonia, Primitive War. Okay, okay, Primitive War is not in this country, but The Running Man still in cinema. Nuremberg still in cinemas. So, if you really still want your Netflix versus cinema flicks, just take what we talk about this week and then put it up against last week. Listen to the two episodes back to back. But having said that, what did we actually see in the cinema this week? Sean,
Okay, so in the cinema this week, I saw Now You See Me, whatever number it is, three.
three. It's called
Three.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Yep.
And The Running Man.
The Running Man, yes. And I also saw The Running Man because it was something I wanted to see last week. I ended up being able to see only one thing, and it was either The Running Man or Now You See Me, Now You Don't, or Christmas Karma. And I just went, you know what? I want to support The Running Man because I like the idea of this film. So unfortunately, I haven't seen anything new. But Sean and I can give a little bit of a report back as what we thought of The Running Man and put it up against what Sharon thought of The Running Man last week. All right, and Sharon, you, cinema.
I haven't done any cinema this week, though I might be going this evening.
Yes, this evening for another secret screening. We put the your bit about the secret screening up on the YouTube Shorts. It's on YouTube Shorts and it's also on our Instagram channel. So please do like and subscribe on YouTube. Do follow us on Instagram. And yeah, people are reacting.
Oh, I'll have a look.
Yeah. So it's okay. So that's it. You'll see something this evening for a new secret screening. How about at home? What have you seen at home?
Okay, well, I saw last week, but we didn't do, which was Diary of a Small Player.
Ballad of a Small
I did
Player.
watch because it was really funny. We spoke yesterday, and I was looking for something to watch. I was going to decide, right? And you guys persuaded me to watch Playdate, and Sharon actually sent a message and said, "I would love you to record you watching that." So, yeah, so I saw Playdate, so which is, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is, if I decide I'm going to watch something on Amazon, I'm going to take a screenshot like that, like the similar stuff, and say,
Do a
"You choose,
reaction shot.
you choose for me."
Okay,
Whether a
so
zombie thing, and then there's that Popeye thing that I don't know. I looked at that, and
oh yeah,
Popeye is something man, but
well,
anyway,
essentially, what happens is that it's like the Popeye thing is a bit like with the Mickey Mouse thing and with
Mickey
the
Mouse.
Winnie the Pooh thing, where it's
Yeah.
out of copyright. So people would decide we can go make some cheap ass horror movie based on based on this thing. But Sean sent us a picture of a whole bunch of things on his screen of his Amazon and said, which one should I watch? And there's a film that you might have seen trailers for on YouTube called Playdate with Alan Richson and Kevin James in it. And this film is like the most generic piece of nonsense that you've ever seen. And I was like, oh, Sean, you should see this. I think you're going to hate this film, and I think it'll be hilarious because I think you hate it. Sean somehow missed all the bits where I said, I think you'll hate it, and, and watched the film thinking it was a genuine recommendation from me. And then afterwards, he was like, Toast, I don't think I'm going to let you pick for me for a while. And I was like, did you not see all the bits when I said I thought you'd hate it? So yes, Playdate with Alan Richardson and Kevin James. I don't think we need to review that. I think we can just say yeah, no. Sharon, how about you? What have you seen at home?
Well, at home, I on Netflix, I had a bit of a run. So I have seen Witcher. Is it season four?
Three. No, no, four.
Think
Yeah,
four.
it is four.
Seen
Yeah.
all of that. Then I've seen the Witcher film, it's called The Rats, which
Okay.
is like a special film, one-off film. And I have also seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Ooh. In that case, could we go with Frankenstein this week, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, and we will put Witcher to next week. Live poor Liam Neeson out of
Yes, and
it.
I know Holly has seen The Witchers and the film. So yeah, we can do our compare and contrast together.
Yeah, cool, good stuff. And okay, cool. Yeah, so if you're wondering who Holly is a London correspondent who's out doing Londony things like I don't know, um, going to an art gallery opening or something like that. All right. Okay, cool. So that's it. Yeah, well, in that case, let us kick off. Let's kick off with cinema, as is our want, and let us kick off with Now You See Me, Now You Don't. The
Now you
third movie in this sort of like, of this new tradition, so to say, of let's go. There's a film that was released 20 years ago. Let's give it a sequel. And coming like with like a long belated sequel. So you have Jesse Eisenberg back, you have Woody Harrelson back, who is I'm gonna put that down. Yeah, I forgot about Woody Harrelson. He's on the list of Sean's terrible
Yours, yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
Sean's
Yeah,
hated
I was going to
actors.
say that, and it hasn't changed. Should we say it hasn't
Yeah,
changed?
Woody Harrelson is
We'll move up and down the rankings, but they're still, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
okay because I've got to show what I have right now, and you can actually see that I've written it down now. Yeah, I've written it
Got
down
it.
now.
Yeah, I
So
see.
we got Rami Malek, we got Jason Clarke, we got Stanley Tucci, and we got Woody Harrelson, and it's it's yeah. So you haven't been there. Oh, wait, also Sean talking about shorts on YouTube. I put up the short on YouTube about Rami Malek. You talking about how much you think he's a terrible actor. I
Yeah.
think the phrase is can't act to save his life. He
Right.
he was absolutely pants in Nuremberg. There's people who agree with you. So,
Is it really? Oh wow!
it's been being liked. That short has been people have been liking it, going, yeah. It's almost kind of like glad somebody finally said it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'll have to check that one then.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So yeah, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Jesse Eisenberg's back. Woody Harrelson's back. Isla Fisher's back. They've gotten rid of Lizzie Kaplan. I don't know whether they explain where she is. Dave Franco's back with a whole bunch of new people. So Sean, if you can be bothered, tell us a little bit about what this film actually is about.
First one I've seen. Second one, all I remember is Upside Down Rain. So I thought, so just before The Running Man, the timings were really good. So I thought I'd go see this Now You See Me.
Yeah.
Not that I would have chosen it. And
Yeah.
so, first of all, the first thing I'm going to say before any story or anything like that, all the actors in this are crap. Right? Okay. Sorry about that. This is the most awfully acted film. And even I generally like who's the baddie in this? I can never remember her name.
Oh, Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, Rosamund Pike, which I generally like. Even she was pretty damn awful in this. So the story is she's like the daughter of a rich billionaire, and there's this diamond called the Heart, which is, they're going to bring out of this underground bunker that's been under them for 35 years. Going to bring it out, and of course, the horsemen, the mad horsemen, all the magicians, the old ones get these cards, which the eye. This is all confusing because I was totally confused myself. But anyway, so the eye, they all get together and they also join up with these young ones. So you've got some new horsemen. You've got three new horsemen. You've got a girl,
Played by Ariana Greenblatt.
two lads that do illusions. And basically, it's a heist movie where they're gonna, nick this diamond. Basically, that's the whole story, and the way through, they do all these magic tricks and disguises, and it's pretty poor, really, to be honest with you. And what I can't understand with how they suddenly get from one country to another. So let's just say, for instance, they're in Boston doing stuff, and then all of a sudden they've got a nice jet to go to Monte Carlo. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
well, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Did you not have to go through customs or anything? Did just like, I suppose they're magic, so you know. I would put this film down into like the Fast and Furious. You know, like the Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
The ideas like that were just absolute nonsensy.
Yeah.
But on top of the nonsense, on top of the super nonsense, you've got really, really awful acting. They're just going through the motions. There's no passion there. You've got no connection with them. They just purely going through the motions. And Woody Harrelson is the worst I've seen him. He's just absolutely so poor. And so is old Jesse Eisenberg. You know what I mean? He's like overacting. It was awful. It was awful. After last week's Lord Mayor show, all I can say about this film is it was not good. So it's basically a heist movie, and they do these.
It's essentially like they're trying to do like Ocean's 11, but with magic.
With magic, yeah, and it's just like, nah, that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen, you know. And how they do the final bit, wow, you know, it's just like, well, because Rosamund Pike, she does this silly South African accent, which is so false, so false. It's not convincing. None of it's convincing. It just is not convincing. Even the youngsters, not convincing, you know. And they try to get these, like, you know, dynamics between the two different groups, you know, that.
The old timers and young millennials and eye rolling and all that.
Yeah. So basically, the young dude, and Jesse Eisenberg, very similar characters. They don't get on with each other. Do you know what I mean? They try to outdo each other. They have a little bit, and you know what's going to happen. You know, you're going to get mutual respect and all that sort of stuff.
That's played by Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers.
Yeah, from The Holdovers. Well, yeah. So, and I mean, wow. I'm trying to think of one good thing. One good thing I can say, because sometimes you can look and say, well, that wasn't a bad performance, but it was just. The
thing is, where you talk about everybody having bad performances in this film, I just kind of feel like, well, yeah, I mean, you can see that in the trailer. They're there for the paycheck. They're there because somebody said, hey, you want to do this sequel? We'll pay you. And they're like, okay, we thought this was dead, but okay. It doesn't seem like this is a passion project for anybody, quite frankly. I feel like it's this reeks to me of the studio saying, we have this thing, we can do a sequel, and everybody else going, yeah, okay then. And everybody's showing up. Morgan Freeman shows up. He looks well bored. Actually, no, he doesn't look bored. In the trailer, Morgan Freeman doesn't look bored. Morgan Freeman looks like he can't believe they're paying him to do this again. He looks like...
Really, yeah. I'd forgotten about Morgan Freeman. Yeah, he was. It was just like, yeah. I'll get.
It's like, where do I go? Just show up and say the words. Okay, I'll do that.
That sounded just like him. Yeah, you can even see him actually. To me, he gave me the impression that he was very, very sort of fed up, and his heart wasn't in it, and it's just like. You know, eye rolling stuff is like, oh, I say this word and that'll be, good. So no good whatsoever.
I can believe every single word of that. so how many stars would you give me?
2 stars. 2 stars.
2 stars for Now You See Me, Now You Don't. All right, cool. And now let's go over to onto Netflix and Friends, an actual Netflix, and talk Frankenstein. Now, this is a film that was apparently in cinemas, like during the London Film Festival and stuff like that. But it was fleeting because Netflix and then Guillermo del Toro they made it available on Netflix. But I'm still not sure that Frankenstein was actually in any cinemas outside of London in the UK. So most of us are going to see it on Netflix. So here it is on Netflix. Sharon, please tell us about this version of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't in the cinema because it is quite a cinematic version of it, and it has got.
It's Guillermo del Toro. It's always going to be, yeah.
It's got scale and it's got grandeur, and you can see that they're like in real settings and on real sets, so that they've obviously put the work in. But Frankenstein, it's a well-known story of Victor Frankenstein, a wealthy young man growing up in continental Europe. His father is a doctor. He's been under a lot of pressure to be excellent in everything he does. His his mother dies tragically young, and when he becomes a doctor himself, his passion is to basically to defeat the ultimate enemy of all living things, which is death.
Yeah.
And he, by scientific means, using all the powers of the universe and harnessing his intellect and everything, his intense research, has found a way of animating the dead. And he has decided that he doesn't just want to animate dead; he wants to create his own sort of bring the dead alive by combining the best elements of like a human being, so the strongest arms, the best eyes, the strongest physique, to create a living thing. And he creates a creature, and then basically abandons his creature, and the creature comes after him to say, why did you create me and why did you leave me? And that's the story of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I read before I saw this that this was the most faithful adaptation of Frankenstein that's ever been made. But whoever said that hasn't actually read the book, because it isn't. They've got some of the key themes, which is the essentials. But I think the first sort of quarter of the book is letters. It's like a correspondence between different people. So how do you film that? So when anyone says, "Oh, this is really close to the book," it's like, not unless you completely ignore the first sort of 100 pages. But this starts in the sort of the Antarctic bit, and then you get sort of the story is one of those stories. It starts with a correspondence with his letters, and then it's the Victor Frankenstein's accounts, and then the creature's account. They both tell their own story, and you see the same events from each of theirs point of view. And they filmed it in that sort of narrative style still. So they meet together on this ship that's stranded in the Arctic, I think it's in the far north, and they each count their lives. But enough of the story. But yes, it's Victor Frankenstein is played by
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaacs. I was thinking I can't remember his name.
Yep.
Oscar Isaac. And the creature is played by Jacob Elordi. I believe that's how you say his name.
That's how everybody say it. Elordi. I've heard. That's the only way I've heard it pronounced.
Yes, and it's changed from the novel in that it's not set in like the early sort of 1805, between 1805 and 1810. It's set in the 1840s, so in the height of Victoriana. So it's quite a different look. They've changed the settings where it was. It's much more. They've created a whole world where he's in this almost like steampunk sort of like environment where he's got this where Victor. It's not his little tiny little attic room when he was a student, where he sort of still sings from the local cadaver house. So it's much more of a grand scale. He's got money behind him, so the look is really sumptuous in the colors, the textures, the sort of the feel of it.
I think because it's Guerrilla de Victoria, I'm just expecting the word Gothic to show up at some point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they have some of the costuming is really striking and sort of visually stunning. So I actually, even though it's not faithful to the book, it's faithful to the spirit of the book, which I think is quite key. You can take that, you can still recognize this as Frankenstein, even though there's the look, there's elements of the story are different. It still has those key aspects of it, and it is more sympathetic to the creature. This is very much more the creature's film.
Yeah.
This is your creation that you abandoned, and this relentless sort of hunting of Victor Frankenstein. You can see the why, because this is how you treated me, and this is I'm after you, my creator. He's not as murderous as in the book, the creature. He's not as because one of the key themes of the book is that he's got no soul, and if you haven't got a soul, can you go to heaven? Can you be redeemed? Can you are you destined for hell? Are you hellborn, etc. So they haven't got some of those sort of spiritual elements of it, but I still thought it was really embraced that feeling of the book, and you get that. To me, it was just like a sumptuous feast. I really enjoyed it. I thought visually it just sort of drew me in. I liked the characterizations. The creature was compelling, but also repulsive in equal measure. You could see the beauty of the creature, but also you could see how
I've
it is
I,
unnatural.
I've heard some people say, because it's seen as this creature is played by Jacob Elordi, people have been
Yeah.
calling the creature a bit hot. People have been saying this is the hottest Frankenstein we've ever seen, hottest Frankenstein's monster we've ever seen.
Well, he has got a beautiful face, so he has got, and he has got this sculpted body because he obviously create his creature is supposed to
Yeah.
be, you know,
Oh,
a work of art, and you can see how the scars are like they're like linear. They're not like you don't get the big rough stitches. It's all really carefully constructed as a piece of sculpture almost. So it is the creature does look sculptural in this sort of form.
May I ask a question? May I ask a question
Yeah,
before we get a star rating? Have you seen Kenneth Branagh's version of Frankenstein, where Robert De Niro
yeah,
plays the monster?
yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because before I watched that, all I knew about Frankenstein was Boris Karloff. And
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole thing about Frankenstein isn't actually the monster, it's actually the doctor who made him and everything. And and that was the first Frankenstein I ever watched. And I remember watching that going, what the? This is totally different from what I thought what the Frankenstein was. And that seemed to me to be quite it took a lot of it was a lot closer to the book than Boris Karloff, but then I think almost anything is a lot closer to the book than Boris Karloff's
yeah,
version or everything like that.
yeah, yeah.
So everything I've heard about this, it seems to me like it's scenes from the Kenneth Branagh version, but all Guillermo del Toro'd up. It's so
But there are certain scenes in the book, like the woodcutter or the man in the old man, the blind man he
yeah.
sort of befriends. That's in the book, and going up the Arctic and the stranded ship, that's in the
Yeah, because
book.
that's the way Branagh's version starts as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that they because all of that adaptations skip the letter correspondence at the beginning,
Mm.
which don't involve any of the main characters at all. They correspond between people. You're going like, I've never heard of this person. Why is this Frankenstein? When you're reading it, is this Frankenstein I'm reading? And it doesn't skip to the bit we're interested in for like quite a little way in.
Yeah.
So no, I thought they do take those key elements, and they've changed a lot of bits like that. About the brother in the book, obviously he's killed as a 5-year-old, and by the creature kills his Victor Frankenstein's little brother. And in this one, his younger brother grows up, and it's his fiance who comes along. It's not Victor Frankenstein's like fiance; it's his brother's fiance, and she's the one who's like drawn to the creature and has not romantic, but you can tell that the creature loves her,
Yeah.
and she's sort of fascinated and sort of has that empathy for him. They've tried to sort of give him much more. If they a lot of some adaptations, they focus on the innocence of the creature, the fact that he was born innocent,
Mm.
and that he was the things he's learned, the lessons he's been taught about being abandoned, about this cruel behavior, about the ruthlessness of people and how cruel they can be, and
And that's
how
what it takes on with him.
and that's what he has the lessons he becomes what he has been taught.
Yeah.
Where a lot of them take the viewpoint that he was born innocent and he's been shaped by what's happened to him, rather than in the novel where he was born without a soul. Therefore, he's just fulfilling his nature of a creature with no soul.
All
But
right.
I
So
thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I liked all of the cast. I thought it was visually absolutely sumptuous. You could really sink into it. So for me, it's a 4-star.
4-star for that. And actually just right. Sean, do you have access to Sky TV type stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. On Sky TV, they've done this thing called Creature Commandos.
Creature Command. What is it? Animated or?
It's animated, 7 episodes, and it's the first thing that James Gunn did in his new. Sir, my phone's talking to me. Go away.
Your AI on your phone.
Yeah, I know. It's it's Creature Commandos, and it's the first thing he did in the new DCU before he did Superman. And that has like a potted Frankenstein story arc in it. Because one of the characters in Creature Commandos is the bride. And then they have this whole potted thing, which I'm just realizing has a lot of elements of the actual Frankenstein story in it. But yeah, Sean, Creature Commandos, I think you'd like
Creature
it.
Commandos, I'll check that out.
Especially the music. I think the music is really, really good in it. So yeah, it's pretty much kind of like, you know how they did the Suicide Squad? Imagine it's kind of like that, and there's some links to the Suicide Squad. It's kind of like the Dirty Dozen, but with creatures.
Oh wow!
Yes, cool. I think you quite like that. All right, cool.
I think going back quickly to the Frankenstein thing is
that because that Frankenstein, the 29 or 31, whatever year it was, the James Whale version,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's iconic with Frankenstein. So immediately, even though they mentioned the creature, the monster, whatever, as soon as
Yeah.
people think Frankenstein, they think Boris Karloff because
Oh, that's
that's
what you think. That is number
That's
with the
the
bolts.
bolts
with the
and
bolts in the neck, the green
Yeah,
face, the
yeah.
blocky head, everything.
the Herman Munster. Yeah, that sort of that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
look.
then the more you look at it, the more you realize that that had almost nothing to do
Nothing to
with
do with it.
Frankenstein.
No.
It has the same name as the book, but has nothing
Yeah.
to do with it. It's kind of like, and it is quite funny that. All right, cool. So let us go on to the new thing that we're going to talk about this week, and that is it's on Netflix. It's Ballad of a Small Player. So from what I can understand, this is Colin Farrell. He's a gambler. He's in casinos in Macau, and he's gambling himself to death. This sounds. The more I speak, the more this sounds like a remake of Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
What made you think you were going to say that?
No, thing is, as I was talking, I didn't even think of that before I started talking. As I was talking, I was like, "This is sounding like Leaving Las Vegas." but tell us about Ballad of the Small Player.
Okay, so Ballad of a Small Player. Yeah, basically, it's he's Lord. He's fenced himself off as a lord, and he's ripped off ripped off an old pensioner with a lot of money, and he's had to get out of the country. So he's gone to Macau because he figures that's the best place to sort of go on the lam, if you like. And he plays baccarat or punta banco, which is quite unusual because normally you see him playing the roulette or although James Bond plays
Baccarat, yeah.
baccarat.
Yeah.
So and that's mostly what he plays. So the characters you've got in this is he goes on. He's lord, he's a lord, and he sort of blags things. So he blags meal, and he's in his hotel because he's a gambler and he's lost so much money. And they say, oh, you need to pay up your bill, otherwise we're going to have to, and he argues, and well, you've got 24 hours to pay off your bill.
Yeah.
And he's really getting in trouble. He's in a restaurant. There's a scene in a restaurant where he keeps eating, and he goes, "Oh, I'll have the caviar and the thing." And they go, he's sort of trying to. It's the filming of it. The actual filming of it is in Macau. I've never been to Macau, so I should imagine whether it's like this or not. I don't know. So anyway, this private investigator comes. So to sort of find out where he is, and has been chasing him, been finding him. So she's saying that, you've ripped this off. We're after you. And he meets this Chinese girl who sort of feels sympathetic for him. And he tries to commit suicide, but she rescues him. And he sort of recovers, and he's really good. And then he finds all this money that this girl's got on. She's sort of hidden it. And he goes and he gambles it. And he starts to win back all, loads of stuff. And they say, oh, you've got to play Granny now, Granny. And she's like this Chinese old lady, which is, yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's a scene when he's trying to get money, and he says, oh, yeah, you owe me the money. And the bloke says, oh, I've only got $2,000 I can pay you. And he goes, oh, why don't we go out for something to eat and all that sort of stuff. And they go out for something to eat, and the chap says he's going to pay for it. It's on me. And then he says, oh, I haven't got any money. I gave it to you. So it's like an old Marx Brothers sketch where they go,
oh, yeah.
So the sort of film, it's a strange film because there's some comedic elements to it, but it's a bit nihilistic. But I did like the cinematography. I mean, it was very, very colourful, very, very rich. And I quite like the gambling, the scene myself, so I can understand how he could get addicted to it. And I have to say that Colin Farrell it's the best performance I've seen him in. So,
that's good.
So out of all the stuff, I was really, really surprised because I was a bit skeptical about this. So, and yeah, there's a few elements to it. So the girl was actually. Was that in his the Chinese girl, was it actually in his imagination, or did it because when he tries to find her, it says, "Oh no, she died." Like
yeah. Well, okay.
Weird film.
Yeah. But so it's directed by Edward Berger, who the last thing he did was Conclave, that went to the Oscars and everything like that. Before that he did All Quiet on the Western Front, that went to the Oscars and did blah blah blah. And this film also, it always felt to me like they said, dude, the last two films you've taken to the Oscars. What do you want to do next? And he decided, I'm going to do something a bit weird.
Yeah, a bit
and it feels like, like a character study. Like, a lot of what you're saying doesn't sound like a surprise to me. Where it seems like it just focuses a lot on that character and what might be going on inside his head. And this is just a feeling I'm getting from watching it. So a lot of it is saying is like, and it does make me want to watch the film. And especially because Colin Farrell, I feel like Colin Farrell, after his bad boy image early in his career, recently, Colin Farrell has just been like, you know what? I'm just going to do weird stuff. I'm going to do stuff that I think is interesting. And so nowadays, when Colin Farrell does something, you're like, you know what? Even if it's a bit of a misfire, like A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, even if it's something like that, I still think, you know what? Let's give it a try, because Colin Farrell is giving this his time, and he doesn't have to. He really doesn't. No. He doesn't have to. So I think Colin Farrell is one of those people who's getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? He's done something. Let's give it a watch. Because I think that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. Right, so how many stars would you give?
3 stars for this one. 3 stars. There was, I had a couple of issues, but on the whole, it was a good watch. So so it gets 3 stars. This one.
All right, good stuff. So that's 3 stars for Ballad of a Small Player. And now, I guess the only thing is, because we have nothing else to really talk about in cinema, it's just about Shona to say what we thought of The Running Man. So
we spoke about it earlier. Yeah.
The Running Man. This was obviously Sharon spoke about it last week. Gave you the whole rundown based on a Stephen King story from 1982. Has already been made into a film very loosely by starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in the late 80s, like 88, 89, I think. And this is Edgar Wright making this with Glenn Powell, making this version, which is a lot closer to the book than Arnold Schwarzenegger's was. So I actually went onto Wikipedia and read the synopsis of what happens in the book before I watched the film. And I was watching the film, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was in the book. That was in the book. That was in the book. And it's very, very much close to it. There's a couple of bits where they've kind of like Hollywoodized it from what was in the original book, and they've kind of like softened it a little bit for what was even good. And the ending is different. Yes. And I think that the ending was actually one of the bits where I had the biggest problem with, because
toes, exactly the same. I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you on that. That was like,
Yeah. The ending was the bit I had a problem with the ending, because there's a certain point, and when I went back, I found out that this is the point at which it diverges from the book. There's a certain point where in the film you're kind of going, okay, where are we going with this? Okay, what's going? And then it just feels that everything up to that point has been a little bit tighter, a little bit more purposeful. Then it gets a little bit woolly. And it kind of goes, you're like, okay, cool, where are we now? Is there a time jump? What's going on? How are we going? How did that happen? And you're like, but isn't the corporation too powerful to let that happen? And it's like, so up until a certain point, I was loving this film. I mean, up to a certain point, I was kind of like, I think last week I spoke about watching Predator Badlands. I'm being like, I can't remember the last time I had this good a time in the cinema, where you're not looking at your watch, you're just being carried along by the film, you're just like accepting everything that's being presented to you. You're liking the characters, you're liking the situations, you're liking how they get out of them, you're liking all the people who come up along the way, and you're like, and it was just right at the end, I'm like, oh, because it gets to the point, you're like, okay, cool, how are we going to get out of this? What is the conclusion going to be? Where are we going to go with this? And then right at the end, it kind of goes, and I'm kind of like,
yeah. It wasn't a satisfying ending, was it?
I didn't find it satisfying. I think they've gone for a Hollywood ending, and weirdly enough, I feel like the non-Hollywood ending would have been more satisfying.
Yes.
It's I think the no Hollywood, but I have to say, I mean, I think that the performances are great, especially I'm going to say Jamie Lawson, who plays his wife, and she was in Sinners.
Right, yeah. I really like her actually.
She was Pearline in Sinners.
She's convincing. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Like you fully believe those two as a married couple.
Yeah,
you fully believe them, and It's the difference. It's the opposite of now you see me, now you don't.
No, you
Where
don't.
you feel like everyone's just
Exactly right,
collecting a paycheck. With this one, you actually feel like it's like, you didn't have to do this, but I really actually believe you guys as a married couple. I really believe you guys having a kid, and I really believe you guys the kid being ill, and I really believe that being the motivating force, to do all this stuff. I believe everything that you're saying, and it's even though for ages I was looking at her and I was like, is that Tiana Paris? No, it is not Tiana Paris. That isn't Tiana Paris. But it kind of looks like Tiana. And then in the end, I had to go and be like, okay, no, this is getting on my nerves. She looks a little bit like Tiana Paris, but in the Marvels, but she isn't Tiana Paris from the Marvels. And I was like, no, it's Jamie Lawson. I believe that's how it's spelled Jayme. But anyway, that was my thoughts about The Running Man. Sean, you?
Yeah. Well, okay. So my thoughts are pretty much mirror you, Tosin, to be honest. As I say, it started off, we mentioned before, the sort of near opening scene is very reminiscent of
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. So it did straight away. That came to me. I was like, oh. So that probably set me up as well, thinking, so I'm going to be
because I have to admit, I was that scene. I was like, I need to go find out what that song is. That is a good song.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was really. And you're right, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, exactly right. I mean, that they were convincing as a married couple, weren't you? There was a sort of, the tension and all that. So yeah, that was good. Again, probably a couple of issues maybe with it were, I think, that was a bit lucky, or that was a bit, but it is, you know what I mean? There were some lucky narrow escapes, but I can forgive all that. So because I was carried along, I had a really, really good time. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was the anarchic guy. What's he been in? The guy with the mum. The guy with the mum.
Yeah, Michael Cera. Michael Cera is in there, and I think it's like because Sharon, there is a decision that the Michael Cera character makes at one point that you kind of go, that is a little bit. That's stupid. That's just stupid, But I feel like they in the time because he's not on screen for that long, but in the time you have him on screen, you see enough about him to believe he would do something like that. that he would do something. He would do something that impulsive and that dumb. So Sean, I think you were talking about the guy with the mum. That's Michael Cera, the guy who.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Yeah. Michael Cera. Yeah. But I was thinking again. There's a twist because in the original, in the Arnie version, there's that lady who goes, go. So she starts off hating him and then ends up loving him. So
I don't remember the original that much. The Arnie version. I don't remember the original version that much.
Yeah, in the original, she's in the crowd and she's like, that. What's the dude's name again? Ben Richards. Is it?
Ben Richards, yeah.
Ben Richards. He's one mean. That's what it says in the film. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, I do remember that. That.
So that was a slightly different take on because I thought it was going to be. So that scene. I was expecting something in that scene, and it didn't. It was different to what I was expecting. So that was quite good, really. I did through that scene. But yeah, on the whole, I've got to be honest. Really, really enjoyed it. Really got carried away with it. As I say, I think they could have done something a bit better with the ending. But it's at the end of the day, it was a good film, and I'm glad I've seen it. And I agree with
Yeah, I agree with you. Good film. I'm glad I saw it. And although I have to say, I mean, I was saying this earlier to you, Sean, that I do feel like it is the least Edgar Wright of all of his films. Because
I don't know, Toes.
No, because then it's like almost every Edgar Wright movie, you put them beside each other, and I look at him and I go, yeah, that's Edgar Wright. That's Edgar Wright. But with this one, apart from the opening sequence, there wasn't much that I saw that said Edgar Wright to me. It wasn't like his usual visual flourishes or anything like that, because there was a large bit of this film where it kind of looks like Minority Report, and
that's what I've got it confused with initially. There was one film I was thinking, is this the remake that Colin Farrell did in the whatever? And so I was getting completely the wrong film in my head, thinking, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like there's bits of it where it feels like a Minority Report, and I do feel like it's the Edgar Wright film that I could most easily confuse for some other director doing it. But having said that, it's not. That's not that it's a bad film. It's a very good film. It's just weird that it just didn't feel specifically like Edgar Wright. Well, like when I was watching it. But anyway, that's me done. But that's it. I would agree with Sharon. I would give it a 4 stars.
Yeah, and same concur. I would give it a 4-star. Yeah, defo.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I think that's us done for this week. And I mean, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. That's the only thing for cinema. Kind of like, who won this week? Netflix or cinema? Who do you think? I would like to point you back to the beginning of the show where I said, put this week in Netflix up against last week for cinema. Because all those films are still in the cinema. They're still available for you to go watch. So go watch Predator Badlands, The Coral, Begonia, Primitive War, The Running Man. Maybe not Nuremberg.
Yes.
and maybe not Now You See Me, Now You Don't. But also do go watch Frankenstein and Ballad of a Small Player. But until next week, please do find us on YouTube, like, subscribe, find us on Instagram, Netflix via Cinema Pod, and follow us. Comment on things. Let us know what you think. Let us know whether Sean is right and Rami Malek cannot act to save his life and his total pants. Just tell us what you think. We love the conversation, and I think that's why we all started watching films, really, was to talk about other people who also like watching them. So, dude, come, talk to us. Until that time, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for joining us.